all, Carolina Dad here, or CD as Randy Slack likes to say, a new abbreviated name, and I like it. Here to talk about non-Panthers content. So part of me growing this YouTube channel is going to be me focusing on other aspects of sports. And a lot of that in North Carolina and South Carolina. A lot of it focused on ACC, some SEC. I haven't plotted out when and how and what content I want to do as it comes up, but a lot of college football. There's a story that I felt impelled to at least start to talk about, and that is name, image, and likeness in high school athletics. And again, primarily here in the state of North Carolina. So a new law was just passed this week to enable name, image, and likeness for private schools here in the state of North Carolina. So if you follow along, and I had followed this and then dropped off, last year a similar proposal was in place for public schools and it got stopped. Like it went forward and then was shut down. But now we have private schools who are going to be able to allow their student athletes to profit off their name, image, and likeness. So athletes from nearly 100 private schools across North Carolina will be able to profit off their name, image, and likeness, like I said. The North Carolina Independent Schools Athletic Association, NCISAA, joined more than 30 other high school athletic organizations across the country in adopting an NIL policy, which allows student athletes to retain athletic eligibility as long as their school and NIL activities stay separate. Oh, really? As long as their school and NIL activities stay separate. Okay, like that's going to happen. The NCISAA Executive Director, Omar Ramirez, said, "I applaud our leadership and association for engaging in conversations about policies affecting our student athletes. This policy provides the necessary protection for our student athletes, families, and our member schools." Ramirez said the new provisions were adopted after watching the impact of NIL has had on college athletics. That's what we're going to mirror ourselves after, the chaos that is happening in college athletics. We want to trickle that down into the amateur of amateur sports, that is high school, and at that rate, it's going to be going down into middle school. Anyways, so the NCISA's policy specifically includes the following aspects. Student athletes must keep their NIL activities and participation in interscholastic athletics separate. How are you going to do that? How are you going to enforce it? How are you going to track that? You've got a superstar athlete that's over here, that's a 5-star recruit, that's going and getting recruited by the biggest schools in the state, biggest schools in the country. How are you going to contain him from an NIL deal in association with what he's doing outside of athletics and, being able to reap the benefits off his name, image, and likeness? No collectives. Again, so you're going to enable this. The collectives, and for those who don't follow NIL, collectives are usually the pools of money that come together to decide who gets paid what and, parse all that together, and then, you separate that out. And there are now companies that specialize in helping take those collective funds and disperse them and get the payments out to the kids. This is at the college level. It's hard for me to imagine there's not going to be boosters, because even when I was in high school at a public school, and not say nobody was paid, but the booster money that comes in even for a public school, can you imagine the booster money that's going to be there at a private school? Can you? Imagine how much money they're going to be able to throw around. And here's what's going to happen is you're going to have the public school kids, the superstar athletes at the public school kids that are somehow going to be recruited over through these NIL deals to come play at my private school, whatever private school it is. This is where, I just don't understand how they're going to enforce it. Member schools cannot offer, secure, or participate in NIL deals. Limited permissible activities. All NIL deals must be reported to and approved by the NCISAA state office. The policy will take take effect at the start of the 2024-25 school year and will be closely monitored. I don't know how it's going to be closely monitored. I don't. Like, what are they going to do to truly enforce this thing? It's a weird time, man. So the NC, I just don't know, man. I don't know how you're going to do it. And for me, with our son who's now approaching high school and, in public school, and it's not really him that I'm, from an impact standpoint, but it is because I get tomorrow and I get 2024. That's a year. But what is this going to look like in 2, 3, 4 years by the time he's a junior or a senior? And the thing with all these NIL deals, and I know the article that published said the average NIL deal for someone in high school was like $60 to $120. I'm like, yeah, that's today. That's where it sits today until you really start opening this up, and you're going to have some of these college collectives trying to feed in money below down into the high school ranks. And it'll happen in some way or some form. And I even heard, there was a joke because when this came out, I was listening to WFNZ in Charlotte. There are parents out there with money. A lot of them. I'm talking about, like the private school kids. And one of the guys that were on the text line that WFNZ said, yeah, I would be glad to offer up X amount of dollars to recruit kids to come and play for whatever school. And that's going to happen, man, because people want to win. People love to win. I go back to my time in school, and I remember, and it wasn't nearly what it is today, but I remember, people moving districts or using like an aunt's or uncle's address so they could go play at this school over that school. That happened. That happened when I was there, 12 years ago. I remember schools getting busted for using one address for like 5 or 6 kids, and then they get penalized for that. But at this point, I don't even think they're going to care anymore. And I don't know how you keep it regulated. Now, sure, should Johnny Bobo, whoever, get paid to whatever their likeness is? That's the thing, though. You're talking about a kid. It's not even an adult in most of these situations. A young kid, what name, image, and likeness are you going to get off that? Like, what are you going to be able to promote, or what are they going to promote or give you? What target base, what grown up that is going to hand out money to these folks? What's the return on benefit to your business? Because as an adult, what are you selling that a kid can come and promote your business and help you attract more customers? Like, unless you're selling a freaking social media app or something, like, what are you planning to get in return? I don't know. Folks, it's just the beginning, man. And, tying into this, we have the SEC and Big Ten forming a committee to evaluate the state of, I guess the landscape that is college athletics today. It's the wild, wild west of just, I don't know how we got here. And I don't know how you regulate it. And now you open the doors to this whatever this is. And the public school kids, I'm sure it's going to come at some point, and you're going to have the public school kids profiting off of it. I don't know. But then the other thing is like just the image and brand awareness of vetting this out. When you think about high school kids, man, and the things that they get into, and you sign up this NIL deal for $500 with so-and-so so that you can promote their business, and they go out in public, or they're wearing your logo, whatever your logo is, and they're out and doing something that they shouldn't be doing on Instagram Live or Snap, whatever the social is, TikToks, where they get busted for this, and this, and they're, oh yeah, but you're tied to them as a part of the NIL deal. Like, dude, I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to worry about it. That's all I gotta say. I'm glad I don't have to worry about it right now for myself, because it's gonna be some crazy times. Anyways, folks, That's all I got.